All right, so let's get started now. So good evening once again, everybody. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once you are able to see my screen. Can anybody confirm me?
Yes,
Are you able to see my
Dinesh.
screen?
Yes, Dinesh.
Okay,
Total
all
screen is
right.
clear.
Okay, all right. So in the today agenda, we are going to talk about the regarding the Python operators in the details. But before that, I jump into the Databricks sites. So anybody have faced any issue to log in or like create an account in the Databricks, or do we face any issue in the assignment part which I shared yesterday? Piyush, have you done that? Any issue so far? Anybody?
No, sir, no issue.
Okay, all right. So have you tried the assignment part also, Piyush?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Everything is perfect, right? And no issues so far.
Hello?
Any
Yes,
questions?
sir.
Any
I
doubt?
tried. Yes, sir.
All right, all right. So
No,
I'm moving forward.
no, sir.
Oh, all right. So I'm moving forward to the today topics directly. So today topic is basically a Python operators, in which we will discuss about the some of the operators which are available in the Python. So Python operator is just like a symbol that perform certain operations like arithmetic operations, relations operations like greater than and equal to, logical operations like if and else and or not kind of operations, bitwise operations, assignment operations, and some kind of special operators are also there. So there are a lot of operators are there. I will go through one by one in the Python side. What are the operators are there and what is the use of that? So coming to this content parts, I will cover arithmetic operators, relation operators, equity operator, logical operator, assignment operator, ternary, so special operator. These are the operators. I will discuss in details how we can use these operators in the Python to solve the problems. Now coming to this arithmetic operators. So arithmetic operator is nothing but like mathematical operators where we are doing the like some subtractions, multiplication like that. So if you can have the variables like variables a and b, again the variable is just like which we discussed yesterday. So naming convention will be the same as we discussed. So a and b, two variables are there in the Python. So if I'm talking about the arithmetic operator, so these are the plus, minus, multiplication, division, modulus, and floor division and square operators. So these are these some of the operators you should know about this and how to use these operators to solve any arithmetic operations. So if we go one by one, it's not a very complex one. You can understand very well by using these symbols also, right? But more or less, going to talk about this part. This is the simple multiplication, but I will talk about this part, and this part. So this part is basically, this one is the basically division operators. Percentage is basically a modulo operators, and double slash is nothing but a floor division operators. So I will, if you see the options here, a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 2. If I'm doing the a slash b, right, in that case it is a 5.2. But if I'm going to do the a double slash b, it is a 5. Basically it will take the only the integer part, not the decimal part, and percentage is basically whatever the remaining part is there, that is the modulus part. So these are the operators, and some of the operators outputs are there. You can execute, you can take your this code, I will share that, and you can try from your side also. Now coming to this slash, double slash, and this kind of operators. So once you are going to apply the division operator with the float number, right? So it will provide you the 5.2, means decimal number. But if you are going to double dash, means you are just going to do the float division operator, right? So float division operators always give a integer value. But if you have the float number, then output will be also a float number. Just remember this point. Once you have the first part as in float and you are using the float division operators, it will provide you a decimal number also. Okay, float value. Now, coming to some of the differences between the operators, addition with a different kind of data type. Suppose that you have the data type of integer and integers, you can do the arithmetic operations easily. But suppose that you have the two type of variable, these variables are different data type. One is the strings and one is the integer. Okay, so in that case, there will be a difficulty. You cannot do the addition or subtractions like that. Okay, so this is not allowed. So these are the different data types. So basically, if you run this code, it will give a type error because both are data type are different. Now coming to the multiplication operators. So you can multiply strings, okay, with the integers. Okay, you can multiply with the strings with the integer. It is nothing but the repetitive operators. The repetitive operator is nothing but it will repeat as many number of times the content as you have mentioned the integer part. And suppose that you want to do the sum of the two data type which are the same, you can do that. These are the concatenations. So I told this concept yesterday also. Plus is the concatenations and multiplication is the repetitive operators in the terms of the strings. Strings, if you are doing the addition, it is the concatenations, and if you are doing the multiplications, it will do the repetitions. So if you see the output of this one 10 times, this line of code, and this line of code is basically just additions or concatenation of these two strings. Now coming to the multiplications, so you can multiply with only the integer with the string. You cannot multiply the float value with the strings. Here you can multiply with the 1, 2, 3 like that. But if you are going to multiply with 2.5, 3.5 like that, which is the float value, so that is not allowed in the multiplication case, in the repetitive case. Okay. And if you are going to multiply two strings, two string data types, that is also not allowed. Addition is allowed, but multiplication is not allowed. Multiplication will always happen in the string with the integer part only. Okay, so these concepts are clear so far. Ashish, Priyush, anybody, Nikhil, anybody have any issues till now so far what I have discussed? Operators clear?
As of now, clear.
All right. Now moving to the operators, which is the relational operators. So relational operator is nothing but a greater than is equal to, less than, and less than is equal to. Okay, so suppose that we have two examples, a and b. A is equal to 10, b is equal to 20. If I'm going to do the a greater than b, so always relational operator will provide you a boolean output. Boolean output means either the true, either the false. So if you check a is equal to a is greater than b, in that case that is the false, it will provide you false. Greater than is equal to, if it is the true case, then it will provide a true case, or false means false case. So relational operator will provide you a boolean output. Now coming to this relational kind of operators on itself boolean. If you have the boolean and now you want to apply this boolean variables with the relational operators, how it's work? So if you see that true is greater than true, that is not a possible. It will be is equal to, but it cannot be a greater than. So in that case, seem like that one is greater than one. That is not a true, right? One is greater than and is equal to one. Yes, it is correct because it is equal to. This condition is correct. So that's why it's a true. Okay. 10 is greater than is equal to the greater than true. Yeah, it's a true because 10 is having the value of 10. True is value of the 1, right? So 10 is greater than 1. That is a true part. So this kind of question is sometimes asked in the interview. I'm also asking this kind of question during the interview with the candidate. These are the logical things. How you're thinking, how you have a basic knowledge about the Python. So you should understand that. Similar case of the false is greater than true. That is not possible. That is the false case because 0 cannot be greater than the 1. So these are these kind of Boolean relations. If I'm talking about the series of the relations. Series of relation means greater than means multiples values are there. Then how you are going to get the output? So each and every conditions, if you are having the series of the relations, each and every condition should be true. Then only output will be true. If any of the condition which is the false, it will be a false. Suppose that 20 is greater than 10, that is the true. 30 is greater than 20, that is a true. This is also true. But if you see this part, this is a false, right? So this is a false. That's why the whole condition was false. So if I'm talking about the series of the operations, series of the relations operators, in that case, each and every condition should be true. Otherwise, anyone is a false, then output will be false. Now coming to the is equal to operators. Is equal to operator is same like that. Is equal to like that. So if you have series of the conditions and each and every things are true, in that case output will be true, otherwise it will be false. If I'm comparing with the 10 with each and every series of the 10, that will be true. If I'm comparing with any of the false case, it will be a false. Now coming to the logical part again. So till now, this logical part, relational operators, anybody have any issues? Okay, no problem. If you have, you can ask in the middle of this something. Now coming to this logical part. Logical part is nothing but the and, or not conditions. So true and false. True and false will be always a false. Okay. True and false. True or false will always a true. So how it's possible? So this is the one. This is the zero. So and one of zero will be always a zero. Or either the one, either the zero. Which one is the greater than one? Means this is the one. Means true. And if I'm talking about the opposite of the false, that is the true. Again, I'm repeating this concept. So 1 and 0, it will be having always a 0. 1 or 0 or condition means either this one, either this one. This is a true. That's why it's a true. See, in this case, any of them are false, then that will become a false. But if any one of them are true, that will become a true because this is the or case. And now coming to the not case, it is the opposite of whatever we have, like that. Now coming to this part, this is also important questions. Sometimes in the interview also ask this kind of questions. What is the value of the 10 and 20? Okay. What is the value of 0 and 20? What is the value of 0 or 20, like that? This kind of question is also asked during the interview. So let's see the concept of this one also. Now, suppose that you have a 10 and you have a 20. Okay. If I'm printing this output, 10 is basically having the value, right? 20 is also having the value. So whatever the value which having the greater than, that will become as in 20. Because now coming to this next concept, this is a logical operation, so you have to understand internally. Suppose that you have a 0 and you have a 20. Okay, but 0, right? Any one of them have the 0. In that case, in the AND case, it will become a 0. Okay, any one of them have the value, so whatever the greater value, it will become into the value. Now coming to the OR case. So if 10 or 20, whatever we have, so first one will be always pick 20. And if I'm talking about the OR case with the 0, in that case 20 will become, right? Why? Because it will skip, because this is the OR case. So it will ignore that 0 part and it will take the value. Now coming to the NOT case, it having the value, right? Having the value means true, and opposite of true is false. Now this is the 0, this is the false case. What is the opposite of the false? That is the true. Now coming to the assignment operators. So till now, anybody have any doubts? Okay, all right. Now coming to the next part, assignment operators. So assignment operator is basically like assigning something. Let's suppose s equal to 10. Okay, and now this is kind of assignment operator where I want to add the value with the existing value. So this is the expansion of the s is equal to x plus 10. So in the short, we are adding plus n is equal to. So if I'm going to execute this piece of code, it will add self and provide the value of the 20. So this is the shortcut of that, and the expansion of this one is basically nothing but s is equal to x plus 10. Okay, another example. Suppose that s equal to 10. I want to do x plus this one. S is equal to x plus 20. So in that case, we are not going to write this long path. We can have the shortcut where s plus is equal to 20. In that case, output will be 30. Right? This one is equal to s is equal to x plus 20, means 10 plus 20, 30. This is the shortcut. Again, I'm saying plus is equal to, it means that s is equal to x plus 10. This is the long cut, this is a shortcut. Now coming to this ternary operators. So ternary
So
operator is
can you repeat
basically,
this last one?
okay, this one, this one,
X
right?
is equal to
Okay,
10 volt.
okay. So suppose that, so in this C++ or Java, whatever you have, suppose that you are doing the C++, right? Means, so suppose that you are doing the n in the next line n plus plus, right? It means that n is equal to whatever the n plus 1, right? This is the shortcut in different programming language. But here, if you have is equal to s is equal to x plus 10, that in that case you can do the shortcut plus n is equal to. This is the shortcut of this full operators. Okay, so this means that you are doing the self addition with the same number. Okay, whatever the left side, whatever the right side. If I'm going to do the minus, in that case, whatever you are have the left side, it will be the minus x minus 10. S is equal to x minus 10. Okay, so if I'm doing the this multiplications, it means that s is equal to x multiplied by 10, like that. Clear,
So
Piyush?
100, 100, right?
Correct,
If
yes.
it's minus,
Yeah,
then
30,
it will be 0. If
right?
it's
This
multiplied,
one
then it
is
will be
equal to
100,
s is
right?
equal to yes. x. So this is the shortcut basically, a representation of the shortcut of this long whatever you are writing. Suppose that you have the counter you are just want to create a counter where you are increasing the value, right? N is equal to n plus 10. But in the shortcut, most of the developer are writing this one n plus plus, right? So this is the shortcut. You got it right, Piyush?
Will it work for like multiply as well?
Sorry.
X multiply is equal to.
Okay. Where you are talking about?
I mean, I'm just asking. I mean, if I were to use a multiplication operator instead of a
Mm-hmm.
plus sign, will
Mm-hmm.
it work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, sure. If let's suppose, let's see this one output. If I'm going to multiply this value, right? The self value will be
Yes.
multiplied, right? S is equal to
Yep.
x multiplied by 10. Okay, so this is the basically shortcut. You got it right, everybody?
Great. Yeah. Yep.
All right. Now coming to this ternary operators. So ternary operator is nothing but a kind of, if condition is true, it is the basically one liner of if and else conditions. So if condition is true, then first value will be picked, otherwise second value will be picked, like that. So this is the if and else condition in the one liner of a statement. This is a ternary operator. Suppose that you have the value and you are applying this value on the basis of these conditions. If A is greater than B, then first value will be picked, otherwise second value will be picked. One liner of a if and else conditions. So in that case, suppose that you have A and B, right? 20 and 10. Now A is equal to 20 and B is equal to 10. Now, if this condition is true, then X will be assigned as a 30. If this condition is false, then X will assign as a 40. This is the ternary operators, like that. This is the one line of statement where you are putting the conditions. Okay. So now this is the example. Suppose that now A is greater than B, right? So A is greater than B. In that case, X will become a 30, right? If I'm going to print this value, this will become a 30. Now, if I'm going to false this value, I want to especially false this value. B is greater than A. That is not a true. In that case, this first value will be not picked. Second value will be picked. If I'm going to execute this piece of code, the 40, this second value has been picked. So this is nothing but a ternary operators. Okay.
So, Dinesh, I mean, it will not work if is placed at the starting, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it
just
will
a
not work. This is the syntax basically.
okay.
Okay. Syntax is basically, okay, let me show you. Syntax x is equal to first value if, okay, you have to mention the if and then condition, okay, this condition, and if it is not true then else, and then second value, right? So this is the syntax. All right, clear everybody? All right, now coming to this input, suppose that you want to take the input from the user. So there is a input function is available in the pythons. You can mention the input and then you can print the statement, or like whatever the print statement you want to print in the front of the users. Suppose that I want to ask the user that enter the first numbers. Okay, so in that case, this will, whatever the input user is putting, it will assign to the a value. So suppose that I have put as an 2. Now if I'm going to print the value of a, it will be 2. So this is the way to take the input from the users. Okay, a similar way I'm going to explain the one of the program. Suppose that in the interview ask this question that now take the three numbers from the users and now find out the maximum among the three. Okay, so this is the program you have to write. So how you can do that? So first we have to take the input from the user, three numbers. We have to take the input from the users and then we have to compare between the ABC, whatever we have take the input from the users. So how we can do with the help of ternary operator. So this is a great example. This is the condition first value, and then this one is the conditions. If this one, then take A, else B. If this one is condition is true, else C. So this is the one liner of statement of if and else and if and else conditions, where you have to find out the maximum number. So this is the maximum number. Suppose that A, pick the A, which is the maximum value once A is greater than B as well as the C. In that case, A is the maximum, right? If not, then B is the maximum when B is greater than C. If not, then C is the greater than value. So if I'm going to run this piece of code, I'm taking value of 4, first value. Okay, if you see that this is the statement which is printing to the user that you have to print the second value. Now I'm printing the value of 2. Now I'm just giving the value of 10. So what is the maximum value? That is the 10 value, which is compared with the help of ternary operators.
So Dinesh, this was an example of ternary operator only, like the line number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Was it example of ternary operator only, right?
Yes, ternary operators.
So I mean, between if and else, we can have multiple and or multiple or as well, right?
Yeah, you can have the multiples else and conditions. Okay,
Okay.
suppose that this one else is this one, if you can add this one also. Okay, you can add the conditions here. Okay, you can put the another condition here and else, like that. So you can have the multiple conditions. Suppose that you have to get the 4 maximum value among the 4, you can write the one more statement, that will be fine, but this condition will become a more bigger, right? In that case, if it is the 4 numbers, you have to add the one more and conditions
Yep.
here.
Exactly.
So ternary operator is nothing but one liner of a statement where you have to choose either the first one or second one based on the conditions. Now coming to the next example, the same conditions minimum you have to find. So in that case, just write the opposite of that and then you can find the easily. I'm not going to explain because it will take time, but let me execute this piece of code. I take 2 and then 5 and then 7. So what is the minimum value? That is a 2 with the help of these ternary operators. Now coming to the identity operators. Identity operator is nothing but the is and is not. So we can use the identity operator for the address comparison. So these are the some kind of special operators which is available in the Python. So there are two type of special operators are there in the Python. The first one is, these are the special operators are there. So these are the special operators. First one is basically a identity operators, and the second is basically a membership operators. Okay, second one is the membership operators. I will tell you both of them one by one. So identity operator is nothing but a is slash is not. Okay, is slash is not. So it is basically comparing the address of the any of the object. I will tell you how it's a work. Membership operator is nothing but a in or slash not in kind of operators. So in basically, suppose that you are just selecting a Ram. Ram is a member of family one or not. So if he is the part of the member of this family, then it will be true, otherwise false, like that. So in and not in is basically checking the membership, and is and not is basically just checking the identities. Suppose that Ram is living here or not. So is address of the Ram is matching with the current address or not, like that. So I will tell you the details. So identity operator, first of all, identity operator to check the address of the operators or address of the variable. Suppose that a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 10. Both of the variable are the same value. Okay. In that case, both are the same, right? Because the value are same, then address memory location also be a same. In that case, if I'm checking the value of a is v, is a is equal to b, is both are the same, yeah, it is a true. If I'm just putting the a is equal to x is equal to true and y is equal to true, the true is basically a boolean value and both having the same address. So in that case, the comparison between address of the x and address of the y is compared with the is operators, and if both are the same, in that case it is a true. Okay, if it is not true, in that case false. If I'm changing the value of 20, if I'm comparing between the a and b, so it will be a false. Okay, so how it's working, so let's see. So if I'm going to print the address of a, okay, what is the address of a? This is the address. If I'm printing the address of b, okay, so this is the address of the b. If you see that both the address are the different. Okay, but if I'm going to change the value and make it as a same, in that case, if I'm checking the value, address of the both have the value, so both of the address are the same. Okay, so that's why this is basically checking the address of the any of the objects. If it is matching, then true. If it is not matching, that's false. And the same case is not. Is not is just an opposite of is. Suppose that both are the same, it is a true, right? Is not, so this is the opposite, right? So it will tell you the false case. Although both are the same, but we are checking the not is opposite of these. So in that case, we are getting the false. Now, based on the locations, suppose that we have the two values again, both are the strings. So both are the strings, the address will be the same, the value will be same. So address will be same also, and A is B, yeah, it's a true. Okay, so until now, anybody have any doubts? All right, no problem. Now coming to this last but the not least, basically membership operators. The membership operators, I told you that in and not in conditions. So it's basically checking whether the objects are the part of the variables or not. Okay, so in that case, if I'm going to explain, suppose that we have the piece of the string data. These are the content, these are the characters. I want to check whether H character is the part of this data or not. So if you see that H is there, it is a part of the character. So in that case, this is basically a lookup to check between the data. So H is a part of that, that means true. D is the part of that, D is not a part of the content in the data, that means it is a false. Similarly, this one, if I'm checking the opposite of the in, that will become a true. Because the D is not there, but we are checking the opposite, then that is a true. And similarly, I'm checking the whole string Python rather than checking the character wise. So in that case, that is the true because we have found it out. Now check, coming to the next example. Suppose that I have a list of the data. Okay, some of the items are there. These items are strings. Okay, now I want to check whether sun is the part of the list or not. So yeah, sun is the one of the element which is the part of the list one. That is a true. Is ton is there? That is not a part of that. That is the false. If okay, ton is not there, then in that case, not in condition will be a true. It's a true. So till now, anybody have any doubts? But not asking any things. I'm supposing that you have already aware about that, or maybe you are getting the idea. But if you have any doubt, you can ask. Piyush, are you getting your point? Ashish,
Yes,
Anil,
sir.
I think these are the basic thing. But sometimes in the basic part, interview will ask this kind of questions. So I'm just explaining each and every part, whatever the relevant to the interview as well as your development part. Okay, now coming to this operator precedence. So operator precedence is nothing but if multiple operators are there present, in that case, which operator will be evaluated first? It is decided by the operator precedence. Suppose that we have multiple operators that are there in the expressions. There are two operators. This is the multiplication, this is the plus operators. In that case, we have a double operators again. Suppose that we have an expression where multiple operators are there. So which operator will be executed first? Which operator will be executed next? So these are the orders, and this order is defined by the operator precedence. Okay. So if I'm talking about the operator precedence, so we have a list of the operator precedence like that. Okay. Yeah, this one. So these are the operator precedents are there. This order will be having the way to execute the each and every expressions. First of all, parenthesis will be going to execute, and then exponentials. Then these are the operators are going to be execute. Then this one, these are the actual priority, which is set by the internally Python. Once having the multiple operators are there, multiple kind of operators are there. So these are the way which look by the compiler to execute the expressions. Suppose that, for example, this one, we have a 3 plus 10 multiplied by 20, right? So as per the rule, we have a multiplications, right? And then sum. So in that case, first of all, do the multiplications. 10 multiplied by 20, that is the 10 multiplied by 2 means 20, and then plus 3, 23. But if I change the expressions and just using this parenthesis between this one, in that case, order will be changed. Now parenthesis is a priority. So first of all, this part is going to be execute. This is a 10 plus 3, 13, and multiply by 2, that is a 26. So if you see the difference, if I'm going to add just a parenthesis, the output has been changed because this is the order has been changed. Priority has been changed. So these are the list of the uh, operators and along with their priorities. These are the descending order. First, second, third, like that. Okay. These are the descending order which I have mentioned here. If suppose that we have a long executions, uh, let's suppose this one. Okay. So I'm going to explain this part in this PPT itself. Suppose that we have a 30, 20, 10, 5. Okay. And these are the expressions. So what will be going to be first execute as per the operators? Okay. So let's see. So these are the first of all division and multiplication will be picked, right? Division and multiplications will be pick, and then whatever the things we are going to be pick, and then multiplications, and then this is the summation, and then it will be picked like that. So the difference is between, if you see the difference, C divided by D, A plus B, and then multiply by between them. Here, these are the difference, these are the first, and these are these different, and then divided by 10. So as per the order rule I have mentioned here, this execution will be work. Okay. Now coming to the set data type. So set data type, basically I have discussed this part, and I have a detailed overview about this. I have different class where I will discuss about this in details. So till now, anybody have any doubt regarding the content or regarding the concept which I explained? Piyush, Ashish, Nikhil, Anil, Sagar,
No, thanks.
clear? All right. So these are the actually, okay. So these are the actually operator, basic operators which we have discussed. Okay, these are the type of the operators, 6 type of operators. And then we discussed about the arithmetic, relationals, equity operators, logical operators, and then assignment operator, ternary operators. Some of the examples I mentioned the content wise also. Okay, and then special character which we have discussed, identity operators and membership operator which I have discussed here itself. If you gone through that, yeah, this one, the same thing I have mentioned earlier also. And then some of the examples I have discussed about the operator preceding. Okay, these are the actually conclude whatever we have discussed regarding the concept about the operators, logical operators A and B, what will be the A and or B operators, plus operator division operators, priority about that. Okay, these are the additional, subtraction, floor division, multiplication. Zero means false, non-zero means true, like that. So you can take this content after this call, and then go through that this content, and as well as revise and just go through that, go to practice how it's working. So I'm going to take the 5 minutes of break. Okay, and then we'll come up with the next topic. Anybody have any doubts, you can ask me. I'm just opening the forum for 1 more minute, and then we'll have the break of the 2 minutes for. All right. So let's come up with the 6:45. Right now 6:42 is there. Then we'll come up with the 6:45 after 3 minutes. So now I'm sharing my screen again. Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Confirm me, anyone?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now we have another topic, that is basically input and output, sentence, statement, and then flow control. Flow control is basically big topic, so I will cover in the next class. But I will going to cover the input and output statement in the details. How we are going to take the input from the user, command line input, output statement, and different type of case are there. So first is basically reading the data from the user is nothing but take the input from the user from the keywords. So there are two type of functions are available. So in the Python 2 it is the raw underscore input function is there, but in the Python 3 it is the input. So there is a change between the function wise internally in the Python. So earlier it was a raw underscore input, which is can be compatible in the Python 2, but in the Python 3 it's a input in the parenthesis. I actually shown you one of the examples also, but let's see again. So now suppose that I want to take the input from the user. So we have to use the input inbuilt and I have to show the message to the user. What is the message? So this is the message in the double quote or single quote. If I'm going to take the input from the users once again. Okay, this one. So whatever the input I'm taking from the user, that will always having the strings. Okay, not having the integer. Suppose that I just pass as in 400. So it will not pass as in 400. We have to convert this into the integer if I want. Suppose that if I have taken the input from the users, okay, I want to print the type. Okay, this is the type of the X. So I have passed as in 20, but this is the string data type. It should be the integer, right? So always remember, whenever we are just passing the data from the input, okay, so it will always take as an strings by default. If I want to take as an integer, in that case I have to use int conversion typecasting, which we have discussed study class. And then if I'm going to check the data type of the input, that is the integer. So this is the way to give the input from the keyboards. So now a raw input. So this raw input is basically I'm not going to take care because this is the Python 2. I don't have the installed the Python 2 versions. This is the Python 3, which I'm going to explain you about that. So input function can be used to read the data directly from the required format. We're not going to require the perform any kind of typecasting. Suppose that if I have do not want to convert a typecasting kind of things, in that case it by default provide as an strings. But if I want to take input in the different type, I have to make as in typecasting. And these are the syntax. Now coming to this next part, suppose that I have one examples. I want to take the data from the users, okay, and convert into the uh, add into the value. Suppose that I want to take the input from the user like 4 or 5 and I have to add the data. So we cannot directly add the data because both are the strings, right? I take the input from the users, suppose it 4 and 6, right? And if I'm directly going to add the both of the value, and result should be the 10, but it will not be a 10 because both are the string data type 4 and 6. It will be by default as a string data type. So I have to convert into the int first of all, and then I can do the sum. Okay, so these are the program which actually take the input from the users. Okay, 1 and then 5, and then it will add up and then sum 6. We have to convert. Now the second example, how to read the multiple values from the keywords. Suppose that you have the multiple values want to print, want to take the input from the user. So here we are taking the one input at one time. We have to write as many number of the input lines as many of the input, but I want to take the multiple inputs at the same time in the single line. So how it's possible? In that case, we are going to take the data from the user as a comma separated. Okay, and we are going to be split that data based on the comma, and whatever the data we are getting, those are the different data. Okay, I'm again repeating this concept. Suppose that I want to take the data from the user, which is the multiple data. I want to take the multiple value from the users. In that case, this statement will be going to take highlighted value will be going to take two numbers from the user, which is the comma separated 4 and 5, right? Comma separated. I will going to do the split, which is actually inbuilt method in the strings in the Python. This will going to split the data 4 and 5 into the two part. First part will be the 4, second part will be the 5, and all the 4 and 5 will be here. Two items 4 and 5, and I'm going to iterate over the for loop. Okay, 4. First it will come as a 4. It will assign as an A. Second will be value come as an 5. It will assign as a B. And what will be the product of the A and B? That will become 4 multiplied by 5 as a 20. Okay. So let's see what is the output of that. So this is a very shortcut algorithm. 6 and then 9. If I'm going to enter 6 multiplied by 9 as in 54, I have to multiply two numbers by taking the multiple value from the user. This is the one liner of statement, and this is the one of the example of the list comprehension. What is the list comprehension? I will explain in the next class or maybe upcoming class. This is the major topic, important topic, and as well the big topic. So I will explain in detail, but here you just understand that we are taking the input from the users with the help of this line, and whatever we are taking, converting and splitting into the two part, and both two part we are passing, iterating one by one, and converting to the integer and assigning as one value and two value, and this will be going to convert. So after few classes, once you got to know all the concept in the Python, you will be become a very much comfortable to write this kind of line in the Python itself. Now coming to this next concept, that is the evaluate. Evaluate. So evaluate function is basically an inbuilt function which is available in the Python. The evaluate function take the strings and evaluate the results based on the expressions. Suppose that these are the expressions, right? If I'm going to take the expressions, okay, I want to do the calculations. So it will going to internally take each and every things, and it will take as in every elements operators and do the summation or subtraction whatever the expression and do the output. If I'm going to print the value, it will be a 60. So internally it will take all the digit separately, operators separately. Okay, this function is very much enough to do the all the operations, and then it will print the directly output. So this is the also a shortcut to evaluate any expression if you have the expression in these strings. Now input argument. Suppose that you have one uh, argument. Suppose that you want to take the arguments from the users. So argument is basically nothing but a list data type. So this argument is basically here we cannot use that, because argument is something like when you are going to run any Python code. So you have to write Python, then file name, and then argument, whatever you're passing, right? So that will be work on the Windows application. This is the cloud systems. If I'm going to pass the argument, it will not be possible. If you see that how many argument here cloud system are passing. So these are the Databricks cloud system where Python is going to launch, and then forcefully it will connect an argument, and one of the argument.py launcher will be launched and then execute the code. So these are the clouds machines. So we cannot pass the command line argument. So there are command line argument are there. So command line argument, with the help of that, we are going to, let's suppose in the CMD, okay. Okay. Suppose that we have a file, okay. We have a file here. It will not work because this is the, okay. Suppose that we have a file. I want to execute that file. In that case, I have to write the Python and then file name, okay. file name and .py, because Python extension file is .py, and then whatever the argument we are passing, 2, 3, or like what 2, 5, these are the command line arguments. Okay, these are the command line arguments which are going to be passed dynamically in the file while running or like executing. So these are the actually local systems where we can pass the command line argument, but here these are the no, there is no command line argument are there. So I cannot explain you the concept of the command line argument because this is the system based. So just know how to pass the command line argument. These are the command line argument where when we are executing the Python code, Python file, we can pass the command line argument in the subsequent space separated. Okay, and these are the actually libraries. With the help of that, you can know what are the argument we have passed in the command line arguments. Now coming to the output part. So output part is nothing but a print statement. Suppose I want to take the input data that we discussed how to take the data from the input from the users. But now the situation is how to print the data. Okay. So how to print the data? In that case, print is one of the inbuilt function is available, which we can use. There are different way to print the data. I discussed this part also in the study class. Okay. In the Python 2 versions, this was the statement print without any parentheses. We can print. This was the one of the function without parentheses. But in the Python 3, this has been changed. We have to use the parentheses. So there are the syntax wise major changes happened between the Python 2 and Python 3. But right now we are using the Python 3. That's why we are writing this kind of syntax. So if you want to print this statement, you can print. If you want to have the new line of a statement, you can have the slash, and we discuss the escape operator in the last class. Slash t to have the uh, tab between both of the words, and then as many times you want to repeat the data. So there is a repetitive operators, multiplications. You can repeat the data as many times. Similarly, either the left side you can multiply, either the right side you can multiply. The same thing will be happen. And this is the concatenate operator, plus operator in these strings, where we are going to join both of these strings into the concatenation kind of thing. So these are the simple examples if I'm talking about the print statement. Now there are two ways to concatenate. First is hello plus world. Okay. Second way is you can print a data, first data and second data. So there are two difference between both of them. First is, if you see, I am going to concatenate with the help of plus operator, there is no space. But if I'm going to print the data, there is a space between both of them. So there are two ways to concatenate the strings, but the first way will be having the no space, the second way having this space. Okay. So always remember that whenever you are just want to concatenate two string with the help of plus operator, you have to add this space, and then it will be print as an space between both of them. Otherwise, it will join both of the strings without having any space. Now, sometimes in the interview also ask that A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20. So, and how we can assign all the values in the one line without using the multiple lines. So these are the ways. Suppose that we have multiple values A, B, C. I want to assign in the one line rather than doing the A is equal to 10, B is equal to 20 like that. So we can have the A comma B comma C, and then is equal to whatever the arguments are there. We cannot reduce or increase the value as many number of the variables, as many number of the value we have to assign. So this is the way. Suppose that I want to print A, B, C value. In that case, we have to pass the variable name comma separated. Okay, each and every item should have the comma separated. Whatever that we are printing, if having the different variable, different data, then that should be contain comma separated. A comma B comma C, and it will print like that. This one. These are the third way to print the data. Suppose that I want to print a data, okay, with having some of the delimiter, some of the separators. suppose that these are the printing the data with the space, right? I do not want to have this space. I want to have the comma or semicolons. So in that case, these are the SEP SEP kind of syntax, SEP kind of keywords are there. You can use that to print the data with having the delimiter kind of separators. Separators which will print the data along with the each and every element separators, comma separated, colon separated, like that. If I want to print the data with having the A, comma B, comma C without any separator, so it will print the data with the space by default. But I want to have the colon. In that case, we can use the colon, comma. Then we have to use this specifically. Okay. Till now, clear everybody? Anybody have any doubts? You are asking anything, Piyush?
So we need to use equal to every time for
Which one?
for
Sep, right?
separation.
Yeah. These are the
Yeah.
syntax actually. These are the syntax. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Syntax you have to use as it is. So if you see, I'm just putting this decorator, right? So these are the doc strings. So basically, if you are going to use the print, right? So print having the value. In the parentheses, you can pass the value, you can pass the dash, you can pass the sap, right? Sap is by default having this space. You can change this argument by default, whatever it is. Like space is by default, you can change as a comma, you can change as a semicolon. So these are the syntax. So I will discuss this part also. And, right? And is equal to slash n. These are the argument, right? So some of the argument are by default, which is defined by the systems. So we cannot change. So sap is equal to, we have to pass as it is. Clear?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now going to talk about the some of the statements. Suppose that we have a hello Dinesh Kumar, 3 lines of code are there. I want to print a different line. Okay, so in that case I have to print Dinesh and then Kumar and then like that 3 lines, right? Because if I'm going to use to print this data into the comma separated, it will print the same line, right? The same line of statement. If I'm going to print the data, it will print the single line of code, right? But I want to print in the new line. So there are this way. Here we have to write the multiple type of print statement. How we can reduce that? How we can do that in the single in the new lines? So in that case, suppose we have a multiple print, right? So we can use slash n. Okay, slash n is basically new line, and now we can print as an Kumar. Okay. So if you see that this is the first line, this is the second line. So this slash n is basically a new line which we can help to print any data in the new line. Now coming to part, talk about the and. And is equal to. So and is equal to is nothing but suppose that we have a multiple line of code. Okay, multiple line of codes are there. Each and every lines of code are actually printing in the new line, right? These are lines of the code print statement which are printing in the new line. I don't want to print each and every data in the new line. I want to print the data in the same line. So how it's possible? So there is a and is equal to operator is there. Okay, and is equal to, like sap is equal to, similarly and is equal to. So I want to and with space separators. Okay, these are the separators. Suppose that I want to use print a hello Dinesh Kumar in the same line, then I have to use the and is equal to, and then these are the separators. So these are the space separators. If I want to print a data into the different separators, in that case I have to use the different separators. If I suppose that if I have used colon, right? So hello and Dinesh, between hello and Dinesh print there is a colon is present, right? If I don't want to use that, I have a space all. So it will be having this space only between separators. Between this line I have to use this and. Last line we do not have to use because do not have the content in the next line. Okay.
सर एक 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 ही कमांड में नहीं हो पाएगा ये.
नहीं. So we have to write see, and line and is basically used to put a data which is printing in the next line to the new line. So why you are you're using the print or like using the content to the same line? Because the overall agenda is to pick next line into the same line. So that's why this is example, right? In the same line we cannot use because
Okay.
it will not be worth for us, right? So because if I'm going to use the same line of code, the same content, it will be print same, right? Do not have to record and separators. And separator is used to print all the content which is printing the next line into the same line. That's it. Now coming to this print object. Suppose that here we are printing the values, okay? A, B, C, these are the variables. Now I'm printing the objects, the whole object. Suppose this is the list data type, this is a tuple data type. I want to print directly the data. In that case, I can pass the directly the object name. That's it. It will print the data. Okay. So do not have to any kind of other syntax is required. Sixth form is that suppose that I have a string, I have an integer, I have a different string. I want to print a data which having the multiple data type like string also there, integer also there. In that case, how we are going to print that? So we can have the data in the comma separated. I discussed that also, comma separated, and this one will be the output hello, and then as is a string, and then your age, like that. So these are the comma separated. Each and every content will be the comma separated like that. If I'm going to print that, this will be print like that. Now coming to the print formatted. So there here actually we have to write this small chunks as per the desired output, right? So why we should not include all the data into the single line, right? So here is the second example. Suppose that we have a data ABC. I want to pass a data in the last of this, not the middle of the each and everything. So I want to pass the all the variable name in the last, right? So these are the formatting of the strings. We have to include all the data, whatever the string part, into the double quotes, and here is the variable. Then we can print, we can use as a percentage. So percentage is nothing but this is the integer. So this will take whatever the value we have passed, it will place as it is. So here is a D, here is it is a D, right? So whatever the value we have arranged, this B will be replaced here, this C will be replaced here itself. Okay. So this will be directly replaced with the as we have mentioned as in percentage. So the percentage is basically donations like formattings, where we can directly use the percentage within a double quotes within a statement, and percentage will be replaced with the this value. B will be first, C will be the second. This one. Okay. So another example. So I will explain a little bit more on that this formatting part. Suppose that this is the here data is there. Dinesh salary and X. Okay, so these are the data. I want to print a data. Okay, I have the strings formatting. I want to use the formatting. Pass the all the variable in the last, not in the between. So how we can do that? We just write the all the strings, and whatever the data we are placing, we can use the curly bracket. Curly bracket 0, 1, 2. These are the index. Zeroth index, first index, and second index. Zeroth index, we will be take the value from the zeroth index. Name will be replaced here. Salary will be replaced here, and ZF will be replaced here during the runtime. Now, I don't want to write X, Y, Z. I just want to know I have passed the value randomly, and I don't want to bother about the positions like 0 or 1 or 2 like that. In that case, there is a second example. So in that case, X, Y, Z you can mention. And what is the value of X? X is the name. What is the value of Y? You can mention the Y. What is the value of Z? You can mention the Z is equal to GF, variable name assigned. Okay. You can change the order also here. That will be a fine. Here you can change the order by this way. Now y is like second part, but we can mention y here. here it is, that will be fine. But in this case, order will be preserved. Order will be preserved means this is a 0th index, it will replace the value by default. Salary will be replaced by the 1, and this is the second index. Okay, these are the formatting, how to replace the operators with the help of curly bracket. Clear, everybody? Anybody have any doubt? You can ask. Anybody? Okay. So now this part is input and output, and all the formatting of the strings are completed so far. Okay. Now the second topic is, next topic is basically flow control. If you want, I can continue with the today class itself to complete the Python flow control. If you want, I can cover the next class. What do you suggest? Piyush, Ashish, Anil, Sagar, tell me. Any suggestions? Should I complete today itself, or like should I go with the tomorrow class? Because we have discussed two more major topic. Either we can discuss flow map or flow control also today, or we can have the two topics and then we'll come up with the next class, next new topic.
Next.
Okay, next class. All right, Ashish, Anil, what you want next class? Okay, you're not talking. Okay, Anil, you want to talk? Sagar? If you have any problem, you can ask me. Don't worry about that. If you have any doubt, also you can ask me. We have one more topic, that is the flow control in this part. But if you want, I can cover today itself. If you want, I can cover the next class also. That will take time because that will having the flow control of all the like if and else, conditional changes and all the things. Tell me, Ashish, next class. Are you there, Ashish?
Yep. I was about to leave to somewhere, so next class will be okay for me.
Okay, next class, right? All right, yeah. All right, so we can discuss this flow control topic, which is also very much important topic in the next class. So till now, we have discussed about the uh, input and output, how to read the data, how to print the data, right? Dynamic input, how we are going to take that, and then how to use the evaluate functions, command line argument we discuss. This is the use for the Windows applications in the Python executions, command line argument, and these are the some of the way to take the input from the user command line argument. Output we have discussed how to print the data, and then we how to replace the data, print the data different ways, 6 format, 7 format output, and then print statement, how to use a curly bracket to replace the variables during the runtime dynamically, right? And these are flow control I will discuss in the later class. But till now, any confusion, anybody? I will share the content after this class as well as the recording and assignment part also. Yeah, assignment part, just wait. uh, okay, so we have assignment for the today. Okay, this one I'm sharing in the chat box. Along with that, I will